Hello, White Sox fans. It is Crystal O'Keefe with episode 24 of Visiting Dugout, brought to you by the Southside Sox, a part of Fans First Sports Network. Today on the show, I have the lovely Casey to chat about the Rangers. Hello.
How's it going? I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you. So let's first talk about the Rangers because they are having an excellent season. So the American League West. There are currently 4 teams at either 500 or above. The Rangers are very comfortable in the top spot at 44 and 27. The next up is the Angels with still four and a half games back. So what is going on in Texas right now?
It's been quite a season. I was a lot higher on the Rangers, I think, going into a season than a lot of people were. I think the general baseball community was still thinking the Astros were going to run it. And I thought we were going to be really competitive, at least for a wild card spot, but I can't say I expected this. I think Houston's been kind of unlucky. They've dealt with a lot of injuries. They had Altuve out. Their starting pitching has gotten hit. And then the Angels are kind of sneaking in there. I think they just took second today. Ohtani's been just playing out of his mind. Mike Trout has been a little bit of a slump, but he's still Mike Trout. And then the Mariners are still kind of hanging in there. And then, the situation in Oakland is just like, sucks to see. You hate that for that fan base. But the Rangers have just been actually a really fun watch this year, especially considering we haven't had a playoff appearance since 2016. It's been a lot of years of some really uncompetitive stuff, stalled rebuild, but it's looking really good this year, and it's really, really exciting for the fans. I think it's been fun so far.
Yeah, it seems fun. So I know your bullpen got off to a kind of rough start this year. Do you feel like it's kind of back? It looks like it's been pretty good lately.
Yeah, we've been doing better. They had to put up quite a few innings today. John Gray kind of got off to a clunker. I think he's still dealing with a blister, so I don't think he didn't even make it through 4. And we had some really kind of solid performances from some unexpected guys. We had a new person come up from the minors. Grant Anderson has been a ton of fun to watch, like really cool sidearm delivery that I don't think we've seen on the Rangers for a while. Will Smith as our closer has been really fun to watch. Guys kind of just unexpected, like we have Josh Spores playing really well. But yeah, they were having a terrible time for about a month there, but they've definitely kind of come back to the mean since. So that's been good to see for sure. Didn't like blowing those late leads.
Yeah, I understand that all too well. So do you see the Rangers still sitting kind of on top maybe next month and then again towards, the end of September?
Yeah, I think so. Our first baseman caught some flack online a couple weeks ago for saying the AL West was the Rangers to lose. But he was right. I mean, especially at this point in the season, mid-June, we're still up 4.5 games on the next person. Anything can happen. It's a long season. And I've definitely never been comfortable because it always feels like the Astros can just come from anywhere at any moment. And then the Angels have been so hot lately. So, definitely not like chilling with the division lead, but I think either way, I'm pretty confident we'll at least be in the wild card conversation unless something goes horribly, horribly wrong. So that's been a super fun thing to kind of, look forward to and hope for and think about because, again, like I said, we haven't been in the postseason since 2016.
Yeah, for sure. So, and you have a rookie, your third baseman, Josh. Is he going to make the All-Star team? Because I hear so much about how great he is.
The AL Rookie of the Year conversation has been a fun one. You've got Masataka just killing it in Boston, and you have guys like Gunnar Henderson who are looking really good. But not to be a homer, but I think Josh Young, I don't think he's just the Rookie of the Year. I think he's right now the best third baseman in the AL. Him and Matt Chapman are the guys in the lead in the voting, and he's just been really surprising. he's older, you know, he's 25. He'd been dealing with some injuries. I think he was really supposed to be here in 2021 or 22. And you know, we got a taste of him last September. He was definitely striking out a lot starting then and kind of going into the beginning of the season. But when they talked about him at the beginning, it was Bruce Bochy was saying, you know, just come up, play good defense, come play third base, and just watch it click. And it has clicked. 14 home runs right now. I believe he's playing really good defense. I feel like every time I look up, like twice a game, he's making some like incredible throw to first. And it's just been really fun to watch. Like we haven't had a rookie really like tearing it up like that in quite a while in my memory. So it's been really enjoyable to have somebody who's like being talked about around the league as a player, because we haven't had somebody be really in consideration like that, like a homegrown player, since like Joey Gallo.
Yeah, and he's from Texas. Yeah. Yeah, he's looking amazing. And that 14 home runs, we are like, our lead is 22 right now between Shohei and Pete Alonso. So to be up there among those ranks with those two, that's incredibly impressive.
It's been super exciting to watch for sure.
He seems fun. I'm excited to actually watch him, you know, this series. So do you have an MVP candidate so far from this Rangers team?
I mean, you kind of caught him at an odd time to record this podcast, because it's Marcus Semien, and he's been a little cold offensively lately. I think he had an 0 for 7 the other night, which was just agonizing. But I think he's the total package. Like, offensive second baseman is valuable on its own, and then he's just a guy, like, he wants to post, he wants to play 162 games. He's, you know, everything you hear, he's the first guy at the ballpark, he's the last guy to leave. And I think he's just such a team leader and so exciting to watch, like Gold Glover. And he's just like, even with the ups and downs, you know, the bullpen offense, maybe the pitchers will have a bad start. It's like, there's always like Marcus Semien's there. He's always like, oh, good, he's up next inning. But I mean, you know, you also have to talk about Corey Seager. He's missed a lot of time, but he's still just like absolutely elite hitter, like every single day. And then you could, of course, like toss in Nathan Eovaldi, just been really the ace of the staff since we lost deGrom. Just quality start machine. Like he will eat innings for you, especially when the bullpen was doing really bad. He was putting up 8 or 9 inning starts, like several in a row, which was really, really valuable when that was the concern.
Yeah, I know White Sox fans will be bitter, especially with Marcus Semien, because, you know, we had him and now we are just this like team that never has an actual second baseman ever. It's just like, oh, who can just play a random base? Okay, let's throw you on second. I mean, it was Leury Garcia for way too long.
Yeah, although I do have to give a shout out to Elvis Andrus, because, you know, really like Ranger for I think 10 or 11 years and just like beloved. He was an absolute fixture of my childhood, like such a fun player. And it's really fun to see him just still like getting playing time on a team like the White Sox. And like, I still like every time the White Sox are on, I see him, I'm like, oh, Elvis, like I miss you, buddy. I'm glad you're still kicking.
Yeah. And then there was the whole Lance Lynn, Dane Dunning trade. Lance has been really bad, except for today. He got 16 strikeouts, but the White Sox still lost. Make it make sense. But yeah, I know I was very bitter about that one. I loved Dane, and he was such a bright young star, but whatever.
Yeah, super fun player for us. And you know, he was the next guy up when deGrom went down. And he's just pitched really well. And you know, this is not who I expect him to be. You know, I wasn't thinking that he was going to give us a 2 ERA like all season. But really like fun player, interesting guy. You know, I see him like, he's always like the guy doing charity stuff, like doing some kind of giveaway, or I think he has like a strikeout counter that every strikeout there's money donated to MS. So he's just like a really like high quality person as well as a high quality player. So yeah, he's been a treat to have on the team for sure.
Yeah, I'm happy he ended up somewhere great where he's actually getting really quality starts. And we've mentioned deGrom so many times, it's kind of unavoidable at this point. So he did just have a very successful Tommy John surgery about a week ago. He's rehabbing 5 days a week now for that. But his estimated return, because Tommy John takes a while, is not until August of 2024. Again, this is the second time he's had the surgery. Last time was 2010. And as of the day that people are probably hearing this, he is now 35. So again, that's a little older for a pitcher, especially that's had so many injuries. So do you think he's going to pull a Justin Verlander, or do you think he's no longer going to be like that best pitcher in baseball and start to really struggle and decline?
It's a good question. I mean, it's, there's that, man, it like that ruined my day, and it ruined a couple
It
days
ruined my day, and I'm not even a Rangers fan.
Yeah, and he's been a favorite player of mine since before the Rangers. Like he's when he was back last year, his first start for the Mets, like I was tuned in. I was locked in. He's just like I don't know what it is about him other than just being the best player in baseball, but like he's been a favorite of mine like before the Rangers, before I even dreamed of having him on our team. And so it's tough. And I mean, I want to say like, yeah, of course he's going to pull Verlander. He'll be back, but it's a lot of question marks and it's hard to see. But this guy, he is a competitor, like to his core. The press conference right after it was announced, like he was emotional, like he was holding back tears, talking about like, I just want to go out and play. I just want to go out and compete. And it was like, you can tell he means it with his whole heart. Like you don't throw 101 like without really wanting to.
Yeah.
And so I think just anything he can do to get back to that form, he will. And, the thing about him is obviously the injuries since, 2018-19 have been a thing, but he's one of those guys that when he is on the mound, he is locked in. He's incredible. Like he's not one of those guys who comes back from injuries and scuffles. Mm-hmm. He's just, when he is there, he's on. And so, that makes me think that, he gets back, he figures it out, like he will be who he was. He's had Tommy John before. This is the second one. So, mm-hmm. Knowing the process, knowing the rehab, you have to hope that it will look good when he gets back. So
yeah, and just knowing your body after, it's been 13 years since he had it previously. Yeah. I mean, my hope obviously is that he's going to come back and just be as great as ever, because it looked promising when he came back last year. Those, starts he had with the Mets, he was doing great, and it looked promising at the beginning of this year. So fingers crossed. He's my birthday twin after all, so I want him to succeed in life. And then kind of last thing with the Rangers, until I get into like silly questions, do you have anybody that you would put on the trading block right now, since we're coming up on that trade deadline?
Yeah, so I think the position that this team is in, we're more of in a place to deal prospects and not necessarily major leaguers. Like, you look at the 40 man, 26 man, you don't see a lot of guys that you're like, yeah, I would give this up. So I think kind of turning your attention to those top prospects. We have a couple of guys who are, middle infield prospects. Luis Angel Acuna, the younger brother of Ronald Acuna, and we have, Justin Foscue, a couple of those top 10 guys who are realistically blocked from the Rangers because of, obviously Seager and Semien. So I think those are some guys we could definitely see go out. We have some top pitching prospects. Jack Leiter was supposed to be the prince who was promised, and he's looking better lately, but, he last year did not perform like the number 2 draft pick. So to me, as far as prospect trades, I don't think anyone's untouchable other than number 1, Evan Carter, who I think he's the center fielder of the future. But in general, I don't see anybody who's getting everyday playing time this season being shipped out. You have guys that you might not think are going to last the whole year, like maybe Robbie Grossman or someone like Travis Jankowski, who's been doing really well, but, he is a career kind of journeyman, 4th outfielder, pinch run type guy, that, if you had to name someone who you think might not end the year on the roster, it would kind of be guys like that. But yeah, I think the main focus for this club would be minor leaguers for major leaguers, putting together prospect packages for something like bullpen help or another starter.
That actually ties perfectly into one of the questions that was actually asked. They said, how much prospect capital are the Rangers willing to cash in to win the AL West? So I think that we answered that one
for
well.
Sure.
The second one just made me laugh. It's what's it like following a team that shells out to employ the likes of Marcus Semien?
That's actually like a good question related to the prospect capital because we kind of had, we had John Daniels for a long time running the front office, and now it's kind of been taken over by Chris Young, former pitcher. And just there's been like maybe one or two moves I can name that he's made that I'm unhappy with. But I think the message that you keep getting, when they ask Bruce Bochy why he comes out of retirement, you ask Jacob deGrom why he would sign in Texas of all places, a team that lost 94 games last season, is they're in win now mode. And they're willing, ownership is willing to spend that kind of money to be instantly competitive. $500 million on Seager and Semien. You drop the bag for deGrom, even though it's not necessarily going to be making 30 starts a season. And that's why also to me, like why I'm willing to send those prospects out for people who can help us now, because it does seem like the window has been moved up to immediate. So yeah, it's been really fun though, because I mean, after again watching just some really like scuffling, kind of low payroll, like strange, what are we doing here teams kind of from 2017 to 21. It's really starting to come together, and it's been really exciting to watch for sure. And just you get that Jeff Passan tweet, Rangers are signing to this deal. It's like, okay, I'm excited.
That is the one. That's like the only account I will turn notifications on at the trade deadline, because it's like Christmas for me.
Yeah.
I'm so pumped to see every other team doing great things. Like, I'm happy for all y'all. Maybe not so much the White Sox, but hey, that's fine. Okay, we are going to take just a very quick break to pay bills, and we will be right back. And if you're watching on YouTube, you're watching me awkwardly talk. All right, welcome back. I am Crystal O'Keefe, and again, I'm here to talk with Casey about this upcoming White Sox Rangers series. So, right now, I still don't have probable pitchers for the White Sox. I imagine you'll see Michael Kopech and Dylan Cease, but with the redacted starting pitcher going on the injured list, we probably won't see him in this series. Thank you. But you've got Nathan Eovaldi, you've got Martin Perez, you've got Andrew Heaney, and again, the ERA only paints like a really small picture. So what can you tell me about your upcoming starters?
Yeah, so the pitching matchups that I kind of gamed out, seeing, I don't know what the plan is for tomorrow for the White Sox, but then I think Cease and Kopech, and then it'll be Heaney, Eovaldi, Perez for the Rangers. And I think these are all like pretty competitive pitching matchups. Like you don't see anything that's a loss for either team on paper. So, and I always like that, you don't like to see, the bullpen game versus the ace. That's not as interesting. So, I mean, I think Heaney's the game one starter, and he's kind of been a wild card. There was that tweet going around that was like, is Andrew Heaney good? The longest discussion in forum history. And it's like, I still don't know, but, yeah, really kind of a wild card guy. Always had good strikeout numbers, still doing that, over 9 Ks per 9, but also definitely, also issues more walks than you'd like to see. Especially this month, he's been just okay, but I mean, he's like pretty like reasonable back of the rotation starter for a competitive team. So I think I have no idea what we'll see tomorrow, but I'm sure it'll be interesting. Eovaldi, obviously the ace kind of since deGrom's been gone. He was like AL pitcher of the month in May, had that complete game shutout, like ERA under 1, posting all these 8-inning starts. Definitely cooled down since then, but he's still like kind of a quality start machine. Again, just the strikeouts look great. Really like whip under 1, which is always super fun to see. always like gives us a chance to win, I think. So that's definitely the game that I'm looking forward to, especially him matched up with Cease. You know, I know Cease was one of my favorite guys to watch last year. Definitely not who he's been, but I think he's coming off like a string of some pretty good starts. Yeah.
Yeah, he's showing signs of improvement. And I know he's usually kind of cold at the beginning of the year anyway, so it looks like he's finally kind of turned that corner to be back to almost like the ace he was last year. I mean, Lucas Giolito right now is honestly probably the ace, but Dylan he's coming around, so it's nice to see, and Kopech is coming around a lot too.
Yeah, and Cease has like been the guy, like if I see he's pitching and like I'm just on MLB TV like looking for a game, like that's where I go because I just like he's fun to watch no matter what. So big fan of him. That's the game that I'll for sure be like tuning into. And then Perez, like, you know, he had this crazy year last year. Like honestly, I don't know what we would have done without him having this far and away career year, like ERA under 3. Just again, like eating those innings, you know, just dude posted and he still is posting. But I think the thing to look for is he has a 1.71 home ERA. I was at his start on Friday and he just looked fantastic. Unfortunately, the offense did not cash in for him. And then he has a 6.5 road ERA.
Ooh.
So, you know, we'll see what happens when he's on the south side. But yeah, he's just looking a lot more like his career numbers, you know, mid-4 ERA, like back of the line. I think he kind of struggles limiting home runs, especially lately. So, you know, you look for those home run hitters on the White Sox are like, I can't say I'd be surprised if like I saw Jake Berger like just hit a tater off of him.
Yeah.
And he's also got just like a really high whip. So if, you know, you see the White Sox playing any kind of small ball, like that would definitely be against him. Just allows base runners, you know, a lot more than you'd want to see. But he's still like a fun watch. I'm very fond of him from last year, and especially that after, you know, he came up with us and was just like pretty mid his first several years, kind of got it together and came back and really was fantastic last year. So it's still a very special place in my heart, despite not being, you know, who he was in 2022.
Yeah, so it looks like it'll probably be Kopech will go up against your ace, and Dylan Cease will go up against Martin. But I think those are still pretty good matchups. Because again, Kopech he's been on a tear. He had a bad game his last start, but even then it wasn't horrible. But yeah, I think they'll actually be pretty good matchups. Again, no clue who tomorrow is. Could just be a bullpen game. We shall see.
Yeah, and that's not the Sox bullpen's definitely not something I know a ton about. I know that Joe Kelly has been really surprising and like and I like him because he has beef with the Astros and I have beef with the Astros, and you'll love to see it. And then guys, oh, who is it? Like I think Ronaldo Lopez is kind of like an on-off type guy.
Yeah,
and
he's kind of mid.
of course, like Hendricks isn't around now, but like obviously, like been rooting for him all season, and even before he was always, you know, a ninth inning that I like to watch. So yeah, I'm interested to see what they do tomorrow, especially versus Heaney. Like you never know.
Yeah, our bullpen has improved drastically. We've got Kenyon Middleton, who's been great. We have Gregory Santos, who's been great. Raylo on and off. Kendall Graveman, I usually don't have to worry about.
That's who I was forgetting.
And then Garrett Crochet is back, and he can throw it 103 if he really wants to. So it could work out in our favor, but you know.
Yeah, definitely more solid than ours has been, I think, because most have been more solid than ours have been over the season. So
we paid a lot of money for this bullpen, and they really imploded last year. So it's nice to see them getting back into the groove of things. Like I said, the Middleton and the Santos coming up were really clutch because they've just been great. So do you have any keys kind of for the Rangers to take this series?
Yeah, this is going to sound really dumb, but score more runs.
Yeah, okay, well, that's legitimate.
You know, the Rangers have been like just a top Rangers and the Rays have just been the offensive teams this year, and the White Sox have not. So, offense has kind of been a little cooler lately. We were putting up those like historic runners in scoring position numbers, like almost a 900 OPS with runners in scoring position, and it's definitely like a lot of fumbled chances lately in this last series. Again, I was at the game on Friday, and they were like 0 for 9 or 0 for 10 with guys in scoring position, so it's pretty agonizing. But as long as they can, we scored 11 runs today, so if that's any indication that the offense is back, I hope that they can kind of keep having those big innings, like, that keep the line moving. They've definitely been a lot of homer hitters, but also it's exciting to see guys, just double, single, walk, and see guys just kind of, keeping that line moving. And again, just hope the bullpen stays solid, as they have the last like couple of weeks. Hopefully no blow-ups, no emergencies, no big innings from the other team, but we'll see.
Yeah, we are slowly building our offense back. I mean, we've got Jake Berger, who, especially at home, he's phenomenal at home. And then Eloy Jimenez is finally starting to hit the ball, and little Andrew Benintendi got his first home run in the season the other night. I was celebrating that. I never thought it was going to happen. So on this Rangers team, is there a big threat for the White Sox to kind of watch out for?
I mean, just like Corey Seager is nobody should be comfortable when Corey Seager is up, because guy just hits like, and he was out, and so he hasn't been. I think he's been a little bit overlooked because he's still not a qualified hitter, but I believe like OPS still over 1,000. Just still like a big home run threat, but also like he'll give you a clutch double, or he'll just look really good. So I think that will not be a comfortable at bat for any opposing team. But yeah, I think that would be who to worry about. And also, you have these guys that I feel like are kind of underappreciated. We have Leody Taveras, our center fielder. He bats ninth, and he's like our other leadoff man. Been hitting, I believe he's hitting over 300 now again. And we have Ezekiel Duran, who's kind of natural shortstop. He's been a little positionless, kind of he played some shortstop while Seager was out. He'll be a left fielder every so often, with a platoon advantage. And he's been just like incredible out of nowhere. A guy we got back in the Joey Gallo trade, which broke my heart, but it's been really exciting to see him kind of emerge as the main piece of that. But yeah, I mean, with this lineup, like there's just offensive threats up and down. You'll friggin' Travis Jankowski has like a 118 OPS plus, which is unbelievable. So that's kind of been part of the lineup success, is there's not really a spot that's not a threat.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. You guys have been excellent. You've been fun to watch. So do you have any fears, though, heading into this series, aside from kind of like a bullpen implosion?
I think just the pitching, like, questions, especially because y'all starting pitching has been like pretty serviceable. You're saying like Kopech's looked okay, Cease's been putting it together. And like I said, like Perez on the road, just not dependable. And another thing is, like, even during the bullpen game, one thing that I feel like I've noticed about the Rangers is like we keep getting shut down by like random players. We'll tee off on aces, like we kind of beat up on like Spencer Strider and Luis Castillo this season, but then like we'll get shut down by like a random like fifth starter on a 500 team. So like who knows what happens with that bullpen game.
That's the White Sox way, though, too. Elite
I
pitchers.
think I saw a meme on your feed about that the other day, or some White Sox page. It's funny how that happens sometimes.
Just ridiculous. All right. Well, that kind of covers that series. So I like to just kind of close out with your thoughts so far on the season. If you've got an underdog, if you see like a clear path to the World Series for a team, just stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, the Rangers Rays series was really interesting because, it was super hyped on both fan bases. Hope that that's a a future playoff matchup. Rays have been really fun to watch. They're a team that, like, even though they're like going to be a big obstacle for us, it's still like, exciting to see a team like that, kind of like a little scrappier, put together, low payroll type of team do really well. So like hopefully the AL picture does really include Tampa and Texas in October. And then as far as other teams, obviously the Angels are really surging right now. It'll be interesting to see if they get a wild card slot. With the Ohtani's free agency looming, it doesn't look like they're about to trade him this season, so he will likely be an Angel until this winter. Obviously, like, both central divisions are kind of open for business. One team that's been really fun lately has been the Reds. They're on a W8 right now. Ellie De La Cruz has been just insane. They have their rookie starting pitcher, Andrew A. His last name starts with an A. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but he's been really fantastic lately. The Marlins are in a wild card spot right now. Jorge Soler has been out of his mind. And then everybody has been talking about this team as sellers, but do not sleep on the San Francisco Giants. They just swept Los Angeles. They have a lot of really exciting rookies. Sable, Casey Schmidt, Patrick Bailey, Luis Matos, who they just called up. They're one of their top prospects. So they've been a really fun watch this season. They're on a 7-game streak right now. I think the NL is a little bit more interesting than the AL, with a lot of teams being really close to wildcard spots. And I think it's going to make the trade deadline picture look super interesting because it feels like a lot of teams are still going to feel in contention, especially with kind of underperformance by those teams like the Mets and the Padres. So it'll be interesting to watch. Like, I still can't name like clear winners in a lot of the divisions, although if I had to pick like a World Series matchup that I'd love to see would be like Rangers Diamondbacks. Like,
yeah, that would be fun.
These little like Astros Dodgers type teams in the World Series. Like, I want to see like kind of a fun, like unexpected World Series like that.
Yeah, if I have to watch another Astros Dodgers World Series, I will probably scream, like, at least for the next 10 years, if we could just skip those teams. I'll throw the Yankees in there. Like, I don't want the Yankees.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, not interested.
I will take the Mets. I will take the Mets in there as a Mets fan for my National League team, but most of those other teams, I need some space from them.
Yeah, I'd be okay not seeing the Astros in the World Series for forever.
I would love to see the Orioles in the World Series because they have been fun, and Adley Rutschman is one of my favorite people ever on this earth at this point. I just think
total package.
He's so fun.
Yeah, he's such an exciting player, and it's like, I always have to argue for Jonah Heim because I also think he's like a sneaky best catcher. I think he's top 5 to me. Don't think he gets the respect he deserves, but like him and Adley, AL All-Star catchers, like, book it.
I would love that. All right. Well, that's about it for me. This is where you can plug your socials so people can follow you if they wish. I have been following you for a while now, and you're quite fun. So let us know where to find you.
Yeah, I'm at deGrom.com on Twitter. I have a currently dormant, like, dorky Rangers podcast with a couple friends. It's at Never Ever Pod. The slogan was Never Ever Quit for a while. Haven't recorded in a minute, but we have fun over there. Very unserious, but yeah, if you want angry Rangers takes, hot Rangers takes, feel free.
Yeah, it's a place to go. All right. Well, thank you again so much, Casey. Obviously, best of luck in this series. Jacob deGrom, if you're listening, happy birthday. I love you. Yeah. Thank you.
So we're going to be here. Thanks so much.
All right. Bye.